Tyrone Devin Jr., your host of The Source of Inkwell, live on KUAW, Knowledge, Understanding, and Wisdom. This is your urban community radio station. This is your voice here in the city to speak to you about issues with you and for you. Now, today, you can check out this broadcast a number of ways. You can hit us up on KUAW.org, type in Listen Now. You can also go to KUAW Radio on YouTube. You can also follow us on Facebook and do KUAW-LPFM 98.5 on our Facebook live stream. Follow us on Twitter and also on TuneIn app. Type in KUAW. Please call in at 816-599-6893 for any questions, comments, or concerns. Or if you want to email, please email us at KUAW985@gmail.com. Also, we are looking for donations. Please donate to this station so we can give you more content, such as the content that you have right now. Now, today is a special broadcast. This evening, I have Bishop Eric Morrison. Now, you may know him as a local minister here in the city, but also he is running for the office of
Governor of Missouri.
Governor
Yes, sir.
of Missouri. Now, I met Bishop Morrison about, I would say about 4 years ago when you ran for the first time.
Yes, sir.
And we met, had a conversation about his platform, just he and I. And then he actually called in to KUAW. I think it was KUAW's second year of existence.
Wow.
And you called in, and we did an over-the-phone interview. And it was received pretty well. So welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you for having me back, Tyrone. It's good to be here, and I'm grateful and humbled to be here. Yes, sir.
Man, I thank you for being here as well, too, because when I got the phone call from your aide saying that you're coming in live, I had to get down here. So first off,
yes, sir.
You are a minister.
Yes, sir.
And you're transitioning from ministry to politics. What made you make that move?
I am, I want to say it that I was looking at it like that.
Right.
At the outset, that I was moving from ministry to politics. I guess it was in 2017, early 2018, I heard a gentleman that was running for a public office get referred to as a servant. Mm-hmm. And that brought in a sense of peace for me, because I couldn't understand why the calling that was on my life originally would change so dramatically like that. And what it turned out to be, when I heard that word, the word is, it's said many times in the Bible, and that's servant. And so I said, oh, so I'm not going from ministry to politics. I'm just going to another platform to be a servant to people. So it helped me in that transitional thought pattern that I was having, because I was fighting in my head, like, why do I have to go into politics now? Which it really is, you're going to be a servant. You're still going to be a servant to the people. So that's what helped me.
I like that. And it's like Word also said, you're just enlarging your territory.
Yes, sir.
Enlarging your reach.
Yes, sir.
And you can also use, politics to, kind of spread the word even more.
Right.
Okay. Now, I got to ask this question now. You're doing the position of governor.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so out of all the political positions that are out there that's on this ticket right now, you got governor, lieutenant governor, you got state senate, state rep, all these positions. What led you to say, hey, I want to be governor?
Let me say this to Missouri. I want to say it to Missouri in broad. And then for those that understand the core of my belief, and the core of my belief rests upon the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus Christ. And so in that, other people can identify to what a calling is. Yes. So that was a struggle in 2016, a little bit after you had met me, because I was just trying to embrace the fact that why would God call me to this seat and not to other realms? Well, we're and I'll say this because there are some diamonds in the rough, Tyrone, right now, people that are in the council positions, the representative seats, the Senate seats, the Congress seats. There are people that are just diamonds, and able to help people on all levels that are already there. And so for the calling to come to me and say, I don't need you at the representative level. I don't need you at the council level. This is the Lord speaking. I need you in this seat. And so that's the transition from the pastoral seat to the governor's seat. And I really believe that in this time that I'm in right now, I have the competency, the capacity, the fortitude, the wisdom that is necessary, the passion that is required, the knowledge to understand what's going on and to help Missouri out, especially during this time that we're in right now.
And that's what we need too. I mean, 'cause like compassion, because I hear a lot of people saying that our elected officials seem to lack compassion, especially during this time with the COVID-19 pandemic and also with the systematic racism and the police brutality that's been coming out. People are actually crying out and saying, hey, look, we need compassion in these elected positions. So it's good that you're saying this part of your platform.
Yes, sir.
Now, with saying that, we have a couple questions to ask you in regards to how you would handle certain situations. Now, if
Yes,
you were governor right now,
yes, sir,
and you were given the task of handling the COVID-19 pandemic in Missouri,
yes, sir,
how would you handle it as governor?
I'm governor right now today,
Right.
with COVID-19.
Yes.
Even if I'd have been governor at the outset of the state of emergency, when the country became aware of it, we had at that time, Tyrone, we had medical experts leading the charge.
Yes.
We had medical experts. And so wisdom, out of the wisdom, and even today, presently, it should rest in the knowledge and understanding of our medical experts. How would I handle it? I would surround myself with medical experts and let them say, hey, Governor Morrison, this is the best way for us to handle this right now. And I would listen to what they're saying and then convey it to the population in the state of Missouri.
Okay. Yeah. So basically, to sum that up, I could say that as a leader, you would take on the role as a servant to those who need to be in that position to make that decision.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. So I don't know radio, broadcasting. I cannot go over there and sit in your seat and function
Right.
in the capacity that you're functioning in right now. No way. I can't just switch over. But what I can do is come over there and sit there and then have you pull your chair up right next to me and speak to me so I can speak to everybody else.
There you go. So you're going to lead with science and lead with medicine. 'Cause I know that was a trending thing. People were saying that this thing is science. Yes, it should.
Yes.
This is a medical piece. So yeah, I mean, I think that gives comfort. So I think if the roles were reversed and you were governor right now, leading with the experts, it might look a little bit different. Now, as far as schools.
Yes, sir.
Now, same thing with the pandemic. Schools are having questions about being open. I know under the current administration, he's allowing the schools to pick and decide what they want to do. Now, already, I mean, I'm a classroom teacher myself. I'm hearing certain teachers and parents say, one, we don't think it's safe, or two, you have all these districts doing different things as far as school openings. So how would you address the whole school opening piece?
And as complex as it is, and no one has a clear or a concise pathway to the solution of what to do about the education in the state of Missouri or even abroad right now. So you have to take in, me as governor, take into consideration, number one, the child.
Yes.
You got to take into child's consideration. What are you going to do to provide safety for this child during this COVID time? Again, I got to keep my medical experts abreast. They have to keep me abreast. What is the likelihood of this child contracting COVID and then bringing it home to their siblings, to their grandparents, or whoever their guardian is? Well, it's likely they will. Yeah. So now it's not so much that the child can function, it's what happens when the child leaves the environment of the school and having been exposed to the coronavirus. If you can't get past that, then I think it's right now, it's probably not beneficial to open up and bring a lot of kids in if you can't safeguard the parents and the other siblings. I'm just thinking along the lines of what these medical experts are literally saying.
Yes.
And so, and then, of course, geographically, that's one of the other things that we're hearing people talk about. Geographically, it's not as hard hit in this area,
right? Versus other areas.
Other areas. All right, and we know those other areas happen to be more or less wealth disparity areas, poverty-stricken places. So those places that exist, you'll also find it's going to be harder to get teachers to those particular kids and keep them abreast in the curriculum when other schools are participating. I don't think it would be fair not to leave these kids out because COVID has hit this area harder, and you're just going to move on with these kids when I think, now this is just me and this is the pastor's heart talking, it's illegal for me to take care of something that's fine, then first taking all my resources and turning my attention to the worst.
Yeah.
Let's take care of those that are in the worst condition. Let's get them up because it's going to be easier to handle the others along the way. I heard an educator say this, a principal, matter of fact, and I'm going to go ahead and say his name, and then he can dislike me later. But Principal Madry of Central High School says, my administrative team, Bishop Morrison, is trained to close the gap of education. So where it looks like, he said, because we get kids behind all the time in their education. Some come to us as freshmen reading on a 4th grade reading level, but they graduate in 4 years because we're trained to close the educational gap. He said, but none of us can breathe life into a child after they die and bring them back to life. And I said, you're absolutely right. What is he saying? That we can expose these kids to this, but who's going to be responsible if any of them should get sick and die?
Right.
I think right now, again, that the safety of people should become more important than education when you have trained individuals that know how to take a young mind and cause it to accelerate in the field of education. If that means 7 days a week for the next 3 months, whatever that, chemistry is, the methodology is, we're going to make sure that we catch them up. But let's make sure that they're alive.
Yeah.
So that they do. Let's make sure that their mother is still alive, their grandparent is still alive. Let's safeguard and make sure everybody's healthy.
Yeah, because when it comes down to it, I mean, educational decisions are being made without the child in mind first, and I'm noticing that a lot. I'm all across the board. People who want school in, people who want school out, people who want online. Think about the kid. So I'm glad that you said that you would think about the child's needs first.
Yes.
Now, in the wake of the George Floyd murder, that's what it was.
Yes.
There's been protests all over the United States, all over the world, in regards to a reaction to police brutality. When this took place, it also ripped the scab off of systematic racism in law enforcement, as well as in education, as well as in the media. Racism was exposed to the fullest.
Yes.
So, as governor, how would you deal with the police brutality situation that we're going through right now and the systematic racism?
The situation that we're having with police brutality, and I like to just look at them both as intertwined. It's just the systematic racism that is transpiring and that has been transpiring. 1619, 1777, we got landmarkers of defining times of when it was supposed to end. If we took if we took 1970 as a marker of when African Americans were really supposed to be free to do whatever, we're in a 50-year time frame right now today. Still, if we go and get the book of Dr. King, when he wrote out of the Birmingham prison in 1967, it's still relevant right now today. And it all draws a direct line to some form of abuse. Injustice is an abuse by itself. The police brutality, when we go and put on a uniform and we're taxpayers are paying money for a police officer to serve, that servant, come and bring me something, you know, help me with something. That's servitude. And protect me from the ills. When that uniform is introvert now and it's doing just the opposite, then now it's time for us to hold people accountable. And I think that George Floyd incident creates now a better opportunity for police chiefs, captains, and everyone to be held accountable for the actions that they are committing. I'm gonna go on and say a little bit more on that, right? In light of the removal from a police officer being removed from one particular department and then going and serving in another department somewhere else.
Yeah. That
those particularities need to be vetted, and that person cannot no longer. And I think that when we as a community and citizens find out that police officers are no longer getting away with looking in the cameras as if, you know, I don't know why I got that camera on because I'm going to get away with it anyway. When that mentality, when that stereotypical thinking is crushed, other police officers that had that same ideology, I can beat up an unarmed black, brown man and get away with it. When they see that that is not going to exist no more, that they're going to have to go through the due process of law, just like everybody else that commits a crime, and be incarcerated, be charged, found guilty, and incarcerated, then we'll begin to see now a shifting that takes place where we get back to officer friendly in what we used to call when I was growing up. We saw them, we lit up, we was happy, we wanted to be policemen and all of that. That's when that happens. And I believe that nationwide now they're implementing a data system. They say that it always was existed. Well, it probably was in existence, but now we're going to have people that make sure that this particular person cannot leave a department, go somewhere else, or commit a crime, and then be put on suspension with pay. You know, it's like, why would you even, you know, that's not a punishment. So let's now begin to identify to that police department in its racial and its way they have been brutally utilizing their authority to dismantle the mindset of young and black America, period.
Right.
All right?
Yeah.
Then the systemic racism that we have witnessed in places of employment, in the financial realm, educational realm. This form of systemic racism, now George Floyd has opened it up, and it's time to be educated. Now it's time for those of us that are educators, those that want to learn, it's time for them to learn of what 400 years of oppression was all about. How the fabrication since 1619 has been perpetuated up until today. That now that the story of history, the way it was told, was not told fully correctly, we have to go back, and you got to be willing now to take on the responsibility. You know what I mean? You got to, they just have to take on the responsibility now to know that that was a lie. And we're ready to learn how to cohabitate in the same place equally. for the days and the years to come for this next generation to see. Y'all broke, opened the box, and you fixed what was broken.
That's right.
That's what the generations need to see. George Floyd, and I've said this, I don't know how much time we have, but I said there have been many of black men that have been caught, killed and caught on tape.
Mm-hmm.
I said it's just amazing how this happens along the lines of a pandemic as well. There's been exposure to the lack of resources that have come to a community that created a cry of people all over the world. I didn't know y'all had it that bad because of the systemic racism when it comes to resources.
Yeah.
Intentionally depriving communities and people from having a holistic life. And then you have this police brutality that takes place because of George Floyd, and it's a pandemic. Two pandemics at one time exposing this place of racism.
Yeah.
Now it's time for us to fix it.
That's right. Now, we are a nonpartisan station. We reach out to both sides.
Yes, sir.
We reached out to you,
yes, sir.
Bishop, and we also reached out to your opponent, Ms. Nicole Galloway, who is a Missouri State Auditor. Now, I do want to say thank you again for coming in.
Thank you.
However, Ms. Galloway no-showed KUAW in regards to coming in or calling in for an interview. The station also, we're not bashing or anything. We're just letting people know that we did reach out to both sides.
Yes, sir.
But you're here and they no-showed us. So hopefully they'll respond back and we can, hear your opponent's side as well too. Now, back to you though. I want to shift the focus back on you. Why should people vote for you over your opponent?
I want to do it in a very little condensed way.
Right.
I'm saying it like this. We have watched over the years, when we get to this time of voting, we have voted for people that have the knowledge of our problems. Mm-hmm. They have the knowledge. They surround themselves with people that also have the knowledge and understanding. But we have failed to vote for the person that understands the problem. Why am I the best candidate? Why am I the best governor for Missouri during this pandemic that we're in right now, Corona, as well as protests? It's because I understand it when others only have the knowledge of it.
Wow, that's deep. Yeah, you you summed that up.
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
You did. Now, when is it? Now, remind everybody when the election is.
Listen, audience, those of you that are listening, thank you all for being attentive. We are voting for the primary election August the 4th. August the 4th. I want you to share with your colleagues, your constituents, your friends, your aunties, your uncles, to make sure that on August the 4th, pay attention to all of your news lines and things. Information is going to be coming out on how to get people to the polls, to and fro. We want to make sure that everyone is casting their vote on August the 4th for Eric Morrison as governor.
Now, I do have one question to ask you also in addition.
Sir.
During that time on August 4th, is it possible for KUAW to check in with you, see how everything is going with the campaign, maybe kind of trail you a little bit to poll places to kind of, get a feel of what's going on? Because like you said, it's one thing to have the knowledge of. We want to have the understanding of you also.
Yes, sir. Listen, if you want to stay on the air after August the 4th, then you need to be following me around. Or I'm going to personally come back and say, what happened to y'all? No, I would love to have it. I accept anyone and everyone to come along, and let's now utilize this climate right now, because of what we're in right now in this climate. It calls for change. It calls for the authentic people. It calls right now for those that need to see someone that has a deep-seated passion for people leading them right now.
Okay, that'll work. Well, Bishop, I want to thank you for coming in.
Yes, sir.
I mean, like I said, I got the phone call, said you was coming in, so I had to get down.
Yes, sir.
And we pray that everything works out for your campaign.
Yes, sir.
And thank you for coming in, man, for real.
Well, bless you all for having me, and it's been an honor.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
We appreciate you.
Bless you.
All right. All right. You got the thing over there recording too?
Hello.
Okay. All right. Okay, this is Tyrone Gathers Jr. again with the source of the Inkwell, live on KUAW, Knowledge, Understanding, and Wisdom, Kansas City's global community radio station. The first part of the show, you heard me interview governor candidate Mr. Bishop Eric Morrison. He is running for the office of governor. Now, to keep the whole political piece going, I happened to run across one of my old teachers, and I saw that she was running. So on the phone right now, I have Miss Jamie Braden. How are you doing, Miss Braden?
I am just fine, sweetheart. How are you?
I'm doing well, doing very well. And
Good.
now, well, I just mentioned that you're running for office. Could you please tell the listeners what office you're running for?
I am running for the 26th District State Representative in Kansas City. And basically because I've lived in this district for a couple of decades.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And
pretty
what's
much home?
Yeah, it's home. Okay. And what's the reach of the 26th district?
The 26th District, I'll do it this way.
Okay.
I will start at the boundaries where UMKC, and if we're going east, I'll go in front of Paseo. I'll go near on the east side.
Give me a little space so I can get down to the mailbox.
Hold on just a second. I will.
Okay.
And to the east, and then come down to a Parkway, to 63rd Street, and then go south on 63rd all the way over to Rock Hill.
Oh, okay.
Go west on 63rd to Rock Hill, and then go over south to 99th Street, 99th and Home.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah. And I'm sorry, the mailman came. So.
Oh, no, you're fine. I mean, it's what it is. So yeah, you have a pretty nice, a pretty diverse area.
Oh, very diverse.
Yes, very diverse area. Now, I've always known you as an educator. I've always known you as a strong advocate for children. What made you decide to transition into the realm of politics?
One of the things, if you remember, I was a social studies teacher.
Mm-hmm.
So as a person who wanted to make sure that all of my students had accurate information on of the history, whether it was old world history, American history, Kansas City, doesn't make any difference. I wanted kids to be accurate and know what it was and why we were all here. Mm-hmm. When I retired, almost been over 10 years now, I found out that I couldn't leave kids alone, and so I got involved with after-school care program. And while I was working in that, I got to know parents and the community better, met more neighborhood associations, and it became obvious to me this year that all I could ever hear was, well, we'll have to cut this, we'll need to cut that. Well, we can't keep cutting stuff, not in education, because we're forever trying something new. I mean, we're virtual now. And to me, I'm trying to figure out, okay, that means I have to provide it in my after school care program. I have parents who are coming to me and they're needing to know how could they get some assistance. Parents, as a parent, you sometimes don't want to share that you might need help. Sometimes as a parent, you're very proud because they believe that's what parenting is supposed to be about, pride and making sure that your children are always taken care of. Mm-hmm. Sometimes parents have to let that pride go and ask for help. When you ask for help and your child knows that you've asked, then that allows them to realize there's nothing wrong with asking for help. And so all of these things have come about, and a lot of parents I dealt with were in between jobs or having problems with their housing situation, and they're transitioning every other month to someplace new to live or whatever the situation might be. And I just decided, let me go and see if I can get a new job. Mm-hmm. I'm taking my ideology of teaching, take it to the state and say, we need to learn to talk to each other and not at each other. Mm. And we need to learn to be more of a community, even down in Jeff City, but in order to make any changes in our state. Because if we can't get along as adults, we're not being great examples to children.
That's right. And we have to set that example for children. I mean, we got to, just like they say in our profession, you got to model the behavior that you want to see.
Yeah.
Now,
yeah.
you mentioned change, and 2020 is a year of change, a year of revelation, a year of change, a year of exposure. Now, it's like I had the conversation earlier with Bishop Morrison in regards to, you know, we have this pandemic going on. We have the police brutality, systematic racism. We have parents fearful of sending their children to schools now. We have churches that haven't been opened in Lord knows how long. I mean, everything is just so different and uncomfortable. So my question to you, Ms. Braden, is how can you utilize your position as state rep to make the citizens in your district comfortable?
Well, sometimes you have to step up to the plate. Mm-hmm. What do I mean by stepping up to the plate? Even though this has been a very, it's very scary for those of us who are considered seniored adults, mm-hmm. Because it doesn't take very much for a lot of us to get sick or to have some symptoms that you have to know what your limits are. My way to make people, or I hope of making people feel better, is that one of the things that I do believe in is I've had to learn that in the very beginning, trying to keep a mask with me all the time. When we first started, when we could come out just to go to the grocery store, trying to remember not to always be looking right at people, talking to people. And then eventually when you could get the mask and you could start wearing them, I wear a mask. Mm-hmm. I try very hard to wear a mask at all times. I try very hard to stand the recommended distance from each other, even in the grocery store, even when I'm at home. One of my neighbors and I, we sit out on our porch every night. There's a great distance between us, so we wouldn't need a mask. But if someone else comes up near me, I try to have a mask in my pocket so that, you know, I can talk to them. Mm-hmm. I have to exhibit what I want my community to do. The other way is we've had a lot of COVID testing out here in the 26th district, and when I would find out about those, I would go and volunteer. Get the mask, they give you the gloves. Because I'm a tall person, I don't do well with the long extension rod because it causes me to drop things. Mm-hmm. I just stick my arm all the way out with the glove on my hand and hand it to people and tell them, thank you, this is meant for you. And do you need more for your children? And that was through the courtesy of knowing my councilwoman, and the other council members who, if you call me, I'll volunteer. Then this past Saturday with the big food giveaway, we're going to give stuff away, and they need to see people there, and people in the community need to know that if I'm going to run for this office, I want you to know who I am and that I'm willing to work. I'm not afraid to work. I believe that those are the things that are going to help me find out what I need from my constituents, and how do I make them feel that they can trust me and believe in me and tell me that if you need something, I'm going to find a way to get it to you.
Yeah, excellent.
I hope that makes sense.
Oh, it does. I mean, and it kind of led into my next question. 'Cause I was going to ask, why should people click your name versus your opponent or opponents? And you pretty much you summed it up. But I mean, what is different with how you would run your office versus your opponent?
Well, my number one, it's been probably almost 20 years since I was your teacher.
Yeah, you revealed my age.
Yes.
Yeah.
So in 20 years' time, I have not only been able to witness my middle school students, become middle school teachers. I've witnessed my middle school students become parents, get married. Some have moved out of the city, but they find me and we Facebook. So I have had people yell my name across the store, and of course I have to turn around and say, what school? But apparently I made an impression upon my students when I had them, when I had you guys. And so if I can make an impression upon you almost, for some of you 20 years ago, for some maybe even 25 years ago, then why would I not be able to make an impression upon adults? And I know adults are harder to impress. We have to really, if we're going to get you something, they want to see it come through. But I believe that those young people now who are the adults, they will be my testimony. They will be able to say, if Miss Jamie says she's going to do that, then believe me, it's going to get done. May not get done tomorrow, but it will get done before the month is out, before the year is out.
That's right.
And that's all I can do.
Yeah.
Is have integrity.
And integrity is very important, because we're seeing now that integrity is an attribute that most of the elected officials that we see right now handling important issues is an attribute that they don't hold in high regard. So I'm glad to hear that you're saying, hey, look, integrity is what I'm standing on. Because so that right there oh, go ahead.
Well, I'm hoping that it was my integrity that for a lot of you who were my students, I see that in you.
Yeah.
I see that in the things that you guys are doing in the community. And so that's the pride that I have.
Well, thank
by
you.
How you care.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, because you're definitely a strong role model in the classroom, and I know you're going to be a strong role model for this state as well too.
Yeah, I got too many of y'all to make me. I have to make y'all look good, so I got to definitely come on and y'all be able to say, "See, I told you my teachers stand up for everything."
Yes, ma'am. Well, I thank you for coming up, for calling in. And I do have one question to ask you. I asked this out of all the people that come on to the broadcast. On August 4th, that's when the election is. Is it okay if if myself or I send someone else to, either call or check in with you during the whole election period, the whole voting process, and possibly follow in and check in with you at a booth or whatnot and see what's going on?
We're talking about through the rest of this election season?
Well, no, on August 4th. When August 4th.
Sure.
Okay.
You are more than welcome to. Of course, I'll probably be a nervous wreck,
That's
but
fine.
I will be able to talk. I'll probably be relaxed, at least relaxed as I can be. But sure, uh, you know, we always have to look at things in two ways. There are those plans that are there for you, and then there are those doors that are opening up for you. So right now, I'm at the door, and hopefully the door is going to open up, and we're going to walk through it, and I'll be able to say, I need to thank a whole lot of people. Besides my family, I'd have to thank my community for believing in me.
That's right.
Oh yeah, call me.
Oh yeah, yeah. We got you. And and God bless on your pursuit for this position too.
Well,
So
thank
yeah,
you once
yes, ma'am.
again. I'm just trying to show my students sometimes if we're going to be community, I guess I have to step up, do it, show somebody else. Like I tell people, when Reverend Cleaver was our backyard speaker, he told us in '73, everybody's not going to come back to Kansas City. Those of you who come back, I need you to reach behind you and pull the next person forward.
That's right.
And that's what that's what I'm doing. I'm going to take this step. I'm going to try this step. I'm going for this step. I believe in this step. And I'm going to hopefully be able to pull maybe a former student who may want to take this step too.
All right.
You never know.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, you might, it's just all about paving the way and passing the torch. Well, Miss
Yep.
Braden, thank you.
Thank you,
And
baby.
oh yeah, and we will see you August 4th to to follow you around the trail and see what's happening. So, thank you.
No problem. Just give me call me or however you want they need to do that, and I'll tell them where they can meet me at.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Miss Braden.
Thank you, sweetheart.
All right. Have a good evening.
Tell your family I said hello.
I will do.
Okay.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, we are back with another candidate. This is Tyrone Gathers Jr. again, live on the source of the Inkwell, a knowledge, understanding, and wisdom, Kansas City's global community radio station. Again, you can listen to this radio broadcast on a number of ways. You can hit us up on KUAW.org or on our Facebook Live channel, KUAW-LPFM 98.5, or on TuneIn Radio. You can go to Alexa and say, hey, play KUAW. You can go to Echo and say, hey, play KUAW. And YouTube, KUAW Live, and Twitter. Now, I'm going to close my show up with a gentleman that I've been knowing for years, Mr. Jorge Fuller. Are you on the line?
Yes.
All right, Jorge. Thank you for calling in.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate this call.
Oh, man, it's all good. Previously, we had Missouri governor candidate, Bishop Eric Morrison. We also had District 26 State Rep Ms. Jamie Braden on, and now we have you. Now, what are you running for?
I'm running for Missouri Senate District 7.
Okay, Senate District 7. Now, Jorge, when it comes to your position, you are a state senator. Could you please inform people what a state senator does?
So the state senator is the same, almost similar to the House of Rep seat. Technically, you have a little bit more power and weight behind you. you're able to vote in things that go directly to the governor as well as veto things that come from the House. Your perspective and objective is to make sure that the citizens of the state are being considered in every perspective of every judgment so that we are not allowing, we're having that checks and balances.
Okay. And how far is the reach, the boundaries of Senate District 7?
So Senate District 7 is a pretty weird shape. I call it the L. It starts as far north as City Market or River Market area, goes as far west as State Line, and you can follow that all the way down to about 78th Street, and it'll go as far east to Troost. From 79th and Troost area, it goes from Holmes to State Line. Then it gets down where you get to Ward Parkway, it opens back up to 435 boundary. State Line is still the furthest west. And then I have Grandview and Martin City, and I go as far east at that point to 291 Highway.
You have a very diverse area. I mean, I'm as you were saying all those areas, I was looking at all types of demographic of people and just it's very diverse. So what are you doing to get your name out, man?
Currently, I was running to put my name on the ballot via petition. I was not as successful as I wanted to be. I do understand COVID-19 concerns, that I'm knocking on doors and being in the public. However, my objective really is to make sure that I am for the people and about the people. So I've been just volunteering more and more each and every day. Every weekend I've gone out to different events, whether it be protesting or whether it be celebrating the unity in our community and finding love within it, or just giving back to the community. Those places, the platforms, I'm not using just to get my name out there. I'm actually doing what I said I wanted to do, and that's to be about the people.
Yeah, and which leads me to your slogan, "Fuller for the People." Because I was going to ask what your platform was, and you just summed it up right there. That not only are you for the people, you are among the people, and you're from the same area where the people are from.
Right. Technically, I grew up in the 9th District of the Senate. I grew up on 36th and Askew, which is, of course, 3rd District when you come to City Council. But where I live now is in the 6th District of City Council, and it's the Grandview, Kansas City borderline.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been there for about 40 years. I'm an educator by trade. That's what I do. That's what I've studied. That's my perspective. And I've always taught my students that they are able to make a change in this world and do things differently. And I have to live my words. I can't just talk it. I actually live it. So I was inspired by my own efforts that I went to protest, and I'm like, what are we going to do next? And there's no answer for that, what to do next. And then, it's simple. Run for office so that you can continue to be there for those that are protesting, getting the petitions out, making those lobbying methods and work. You have to have someone there that understands the people and also that's willing to connect with the people and not to be afraid of the people.
You said you said a key word. You said connecting. Now, that's kind of the main focus I've been hitting on all evening in regards with politicians, because earlier we talked about how you got politicians who lack compassion right now during this time period. Some that lack integrity during this time period. And also now you're mentioning connectivity. Now, between me and you and the world here, a lot of the politicians that we see in office right now, they lack the connectivity with the people that they claim that they serve. So how can you show that you're connected to the people? How can you be a role model to other politicians on how to connect?
Well, one thing that I said as an educator back when I was doing schools, I would always reach out to my politicians to come and visit and speak to my classroom. And the reason why I do that is because that's your next set of constituents. Mm-hmm. Those are the people that are truly hurt. Those are the people that are watching and saying that no one cares about us. And one way that I would continue to connect with my people is to make sure that I make myself available to go and talk to the children, to go and be in front and present with the students of Kansas City area. Not just, I'm not going to just say Kansas City Public Schools, but definitely KCPS because I'm an alumni. But I want to also say Grandview, Hickman Mills, Ruskin High School to be exact, as well as Center and any of the charter schools. If you're asking for your members to actually, your politicians to talk, let the students know what's happening, get them informed and engaged in the process, because what we're doing is that they need to learn all of this. And we're not doing the most adequate job of teaching them this so that they have it before they become adults. So the one way I would connect is by being in the classroom, going to the classroom. My objective would be to be monthly, because if we're making decisions on what happens in classrooms, we need to be in there. The next objective is to be at events. Be that person that goes out into the community, not just the person that plans the events, but support others that are planning the events and actually work. Roll up your sleeves. If there's a food distribution, be one of the people that's fast and putting the food in people's cars. It's nothing hard that we have to do in order to be for our people.
You know, it's and everything that you're saying, I can definitely vouch for, because you and I are connected on Facebook and on social media platforms. And literally, if there's an event, Jorge is out there. He was at protests, like you said. He was at food giveaways. He was at community enrichment events. I mean, then I think the most powerful video that you had was you were out in front of an abandoned school, and you was talking about the importance of education. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, you definitely, what you're saying, you are one of the ones that I can say definitely backs up what he says. Now, as a candidate, you got my attention. Now, there are other individuals who are listening also who are probably thinking, man, I like this guy. You know, I want to roll with him. Now, you are a write-in candidate, and your name is not on the ballot. So could you explain how someone could still vote for you, although you're a write-in candidate?
So you're going to have an option when you get to that voting booth on November 3rd, to be exact. The option is going to say write-in under Senate 7th District. So if you live in the boundaries of the 7th District, and I'll say this person's name, Greg Razor is going to be on the ballot. I can safely say that he's running in his primary. Greg Razor and Michael Brown are on the ballot August 4th, and more than likely you're going to see those similar names on the ballot for November. The objective is underneath is going to say write in. Where it says write in, I want you to fill in the oval completely and then write JORGE FULLER. That is Jorge or George Fuller. And the reason why I say that you have to write it that way is because if you write it in English, it's not going to work for me. My name is spelled in Spanish, and that's the way we have to write it in. My last name is Fuller, and it's for the people. If you want to go and check out my campaign, you can see anything that I'm doing. I do it publicly. So you can see me on Facebook. You can see me on Instagram. I'm not going to say Twitter, but I am on Twitter. It's just I'm not able to update as frequently with Twitter because they like to limit my speech.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. And you said this is for the November election, right?
Yes. Mine will be general election in November 3rd, 2020.
Okay. Well, thank you, George. We're going to go ahead and end this now. Good luck on your campaign. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Tyrone Githers Jr., your host of the Source of the Inkwell. You have the right to vote. Exercise it. And just like knowledge, let it overflow and stain like ink. We'll see you next week. God bless, and good luck to all of our candidates.